Hello and welcome to another Magic 2015 gameplay. Today we've got an Izzet deck lined up, a blue-red burn deck of sorts. It's a pretty synergistic deck that revolves around mostly the card Kiln Fiend, which becomes stronger the more sorceries and instants you play. And we also have Gutter Snipe over here, which deals damage whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. And we also have a pretty big Goblin theme going on, but let me go over all the cards real quick. So we have a couple of Void Snares. These help to get rid of creatures your opponents have, so your Kiln Fiend can go through unblocked. Same goes with Artful Dodge, which makes Kiln Fiend unblockable, also has Flashback, so you can even use it twice in the same turn just to trigger the Kiln Fiend. Voyage's End, also same role. Negate, just one off to protect our creatures from removal. Time Warp, 4 shocks, also to get rid of small creatures or to go to the opponent's face, also trigger Kiln Fiend. And Gutter Snipe. Kiln Fiend we already covered. Krenko's Command is a sorcery, even though they put 2 creatures into play. So they do trigger all our little creatures, and the goblins also help with our goblin theme. The fact that they're 2/1/1s instead of 1/2/2 also helps to push through those last points of damage. And then we have Goblin Rebel Master, which takes advantage of all our goblins in the deck, and you can also make him unblockable with Artful Dodge, and he will also be dealing a lot of damage. And Gutter Snipe, also a goblin. Then we have Bolt of Keranos, another burn spell, not an instant unfortunately. Stormbreath Dragon, just a good creature that can close out the game. Same goes with Inferno Titan and Charmbreaker Devils, which is pretty much a bigger Kiln Fiend with some card advantage built in as well. And then 4 Goblin Electromancer, also a goblin, and makes all our instants and sorceries 1 colorless cheaper. And then the mana base is skewed slightly towards red, but we still want it to be pretty even, so we can cast an early Goblin Electromancer. Okay, so this opening hand is, let's call it pretty bad. This hand, on the other hand, is great. We have Guildgate to fix our mana, Kiln Fiend, and then Electromancer together with Artful Dodge, Shock, all good early cards. And this Kraken Hatchling is not going to stop an unblockable Kiln Fiend. Yeah, no real reason to lead with Mountain. Shock is probably not gonna do much, and I would rather cast a Kiln Fiend on time. And Rebel Master also combos with our Electromancer. Another Hatchling, not better than the first one, but it does mean we want to time our Artful Dodge, so we can get as much damage pushed through. And another Kiln Fiend means we'll probably just play them both before we start playing instants and sorceries. We don't have any instants and sorceries other than Time Warp that take advantage of Electromancer, but it's still a goblin, it's still a 2/2. And alright, so our opponent's on a very defensive deck, it looks like. Guard Gomozoa prevents all combat damage. Okay, I think I'll just play another Kiln Fiend. But I'm going to attack first, and maybe our opponent doesn't block. Alright, he does block. Just put fear in him. And play our second Kiln Fiend. And then if they both survive next turn, we can start pushing some damage in our opponent's direction. 4 lands, no plays, so most likely holding up a removal spell. We didn't draw a third land, which is unfortunate. Let's see. So we could cast one Artful Dodge, but that doesn't seem great at the moment. I think I would rather cast a Voyage's End on the Gomazoa and attack with both Kiln Fiends, meaning our opponent has to chum block with his hatchlings if he wants to prevent 8 damage. And if he does have an answer, then I would rather him doing it now rather than when we go for the Artful Dodge turn. And the Scry also helps us find a third land. Yeah, we need a third land for our Rebel Masters. So let's go to attacks. And what does our opponent do? Does he go for... Alright, no blocks, down to 12. And this is actually better for us because we still have the Artful Dodge that our opponent doesn't necessarily know about. So if he had blocked and then we went for the Artful Dodge, he would have pretty much gained 8 life. Now he's on 12, but he does have 5 lands. So he could overpower us with a big spell of sorts, but he just replays his defender, which is okay. Double black could still mean an ulcerate. And here we draw one of our worst cards at the moment, Inferno Titan, which means I probably just play the Electromancer, but I'm actually going to attack with both Kiln Fiends and maybe get some sort of profitable block with Shock, and attacking is pretty much free at this point. Alright, our opponent does bite, and we won't be using Shock, even though we could have finished off one hatchling, but we're just gonna play Electromancer and pass the turn. Luckily there's no real sweepers in blue and black, so we don't have to be afraid of that. But 6 lands could start, meaning our opponent can play stuff like Runescar Demon next turn. Maybe even a Gristlebrand on turn 8. But Dinrova Horror is just going to be somewhat annoying. I think we will end up discarding either Time Warp or Inferno Titan. We could discard Artful Dodge since it has flashback, but I think we want to use it twice. So I'm actually gonna discard Inferno Titan. I don't think there's any reanimation spells we have to play around that our opponent could get our Inferno Titan back somehow. So our opponent putting some pressure on the board for the first time and sort of stalling us some more. If we do draw an island, I think we actually just win the game, since we can double Artful Dodge Shock, meaning we pump our Kiln Fiends 3 times and make them both unblockable. Instead we draw another Artful Dodge, which is actually still pretty good. We can only use one of them, but it does mean getting 4 damage in. I think it's better than playing the Electromancer at this point. So let's go for it. I don't think I'm gonna use Shock. Although, now that I think about it, it does sound pretty enticing. So our opponent will block this Kiln Fiend over here on the Gomazoa. And we could get 5 plus 4, 9 damage in, which means next turn we win. So I think it's worth it just because our opponent tapped out. And let's target players, since we can't kill any of his creatures unless our opponent makes a weird block. And I don't think we attack with the other Kiln Fiend. Just in case our opponent does have a targeted removal spell of sorts, we still have the second one to close out the game. Because if we do attack, he could block with the Horror. So let's attack with the unblockable one and get 7 damage in, which is still pretty scary. Okay. And looks like our opponent left. He's not dead yet, but knowing that we have the Artful Dodge in the graveyard, he probably saw it coming. No need to block. And there we have our third land, not an island, but let's see, Rebel Master, no. Let's just flashback Artful Dodge and hopefully claim a victory. So stuck on 2 lands pretty much the entire game, but we still managed to do a lot of damages. And there we go. So I want to thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.